This is channel Xianxia Audio. Please support me a subscription. This is the series I'm Not a Theater God. Chapter 1. The Playful Ghost Returns Home. Who am I? Boom. Pale lightning flashed through the ink like clouds. Rain poured down, a divine storm drenching the muddy ground. In the rippling puddles, a crimson figure was fragmented. It was a young man clad in a red theater gown. He stumbled through the mud as if drunk, his wide sleeves fluttering in the strong wind. The mud on his theater gown was washed away by the rain. And that blood-like crimson was shocking in the dark night. Stop arguing. Stop arguing. All of you, shut up. I'm about to remember. About to remember. I have a name of my own. The young man's wet black hair hung over his eyebrows, and his unfocused eyes were full of confusion. He moved forward with difficulty, clutching his head with both hands, as if struggling to recall something. His angry roar echoed on the deserted street, but it didn't travel far before being swallowed by the endless rain. Plop! In the dim light, he tripped over a protruding stone and fell heavily to the ground. A trickle of scarlet blood rolled from the young man's forehead. He lay blankly on the ground, then suddenly seemed to remember something, and a faint light appeared in his cloudy eyes. Chen Ling. A name suddenly flashed through his mind. The moment he uttered these two words, a fragment of memory drifted out from the endless murmurs that were almost tearing his head apart, merging with this weak body. What is this? Transmigration? Chen Ling frowned, constantly processing the memories of this body. His brain ached as if it were being torn apart. His name was Chen Ling, 28 years old, an intern director at a theater in the capital. After a performance at the theater that day, he was alone on stage, designing and arranging the actors' movements. Then a violent earthquake struck. He only felt a pain in his head and completely lost consciousness. Thinking about it now, he most likely was killed by a falling spotlight. And at this moment, Chen Ling was also gradually processing the memories of this body. To his surprise, the original host of this body was also named Chen Ling. But their fundamental understanding of the world was completely different. The fragmented memories clashed, and Chen Ling felt his mind was about to explode. He kept taking deep breaths, struggling to get up from the ground. His theater gown was black in some spots and red in others. Looking utterly disheveled, for some reason, his body felt incredibly heavy, like the exhaustion of being completely drained after staying up 4 or 5 days straight to write a script. Let's go home first. His weary body and fragmented thoughts made it almost impossible for him to think. So he could only rely on the body's instinct to walk towards home. Although he didn't know how he got here, the original host's memory contained this place. He would take this road every day after taking care of his younger brother at the clinic. From here to home, it was usually only a 2 or 3 minute walk. But for him at this moment, this journey was unprecedentedly long. The rain, with its biting cold, flowed over Chen Ling's body. He shivered uncontrollably, enduring the cold and fatigue as he walked in the rain for 10 minutes before finally arriving at the familiar front door from his memories. Chen Ling fumbled in his pocket for a while, realizing he had no key on him. So, he skillfully retrieved a spare key from the bottom of the newspaper box next to the door and opened the door. Creak. Warm light spilled from inside the house, illuminating a corner of the dark, rainy night and Chen Ling's pale face. The moment he saw this light, Chen Ling's taut nerves naturally relaxed. The cold and fatigue on his body seemed to be somewhat dispelled by this single lamp. He stepped into the house, only to see 2 figures sitting on either side of the dining table. Their eyes red, as if they had just cried. Hearing the door open, the 2 paused, then simultaneously turned their heads. Dad, Mom, I'm home. Chen Ling, with a heavy head, subconsciously prepared to change his shoes at the door, only to realize he had been barefoot from the start. His soles and between his toes were almost completely filled with mud, already leaving 2 large black footprints on the floor. The 2 figures sitting at the dining table, seeing the red-clad Chen Ling push open the door, their pupils contracted violently. You. The man's Adam's apple bobbed. He opened his mouth wide, looking as if he had seen a ghost. Mom, is there any water at home? I'm so thirsty. After returning home, Chen Ling's spirit completely relaxed, and his consciousness was on the verge of fainting. He muttered to himself as he stumbled into the kitchen, picked up the water dispenser bottle, and began to drink greedily. Gulp, gulp, gulp. In the kitchen, the red-clad figure drank water ravenously. Like a beast, water trickled from the corners of his mouth, dripping onto the floor, forming puddles that reflected the 2 terrified, pale faces in the living room. A Ling. The woman forced herself to gather courage, trembling as she spoke. How? How did you come back? Chen Ling, holding the water bottle, drank frantically, completely oblivious to the woman's words. Then, as if he felt drinking like this was too slow, he directly shoved the fist-thick opening of the water bottle into his mouth and bit it apart. The synthetic plastic was chewed vigorously, and surging water poured into his mouth. Utterly refreshing. I walked back. A voice came from behind Chen Ling. Yes, behind. At this moment, Chen Ling was still immersed in drinking water, but his voice clearly reached the ears of the two people. It was as if another red-clad Chen Ling stood in the invisible void behind him, spreading his hands and answering as if it were the most natural thing. The rain was a bit heavy, and I think I got lost. I think I fell a few times on the way, and my shoes are gone too. Mom, I got the floor dirty. If you're not in a hurry, just wait for me to clean it up tomorrow. I'm too sleepy now. Looking at this chilling scene before them, the man and woman in the living room felt a chill down their necks. The flame of the kerosene lamp in the glass holder flickered continuously, as if an invisible hand was playfully toying with the wick. Their faces were ashen, but they stood rigidly in place, not daring to move. Finally, the water bottle was emptied. Chen Ling wiped his mouth as he put the water bottle down, then turned around, leaving black footprints with every step across the floor, stumbling towards his bedroom. Dad, Mom, you two should go to bed early too. Good night. He mumbled something indistinctly, then closed the door behind him, followed by the dull thud of a heavy object falling onto the bed. The living room fell into dead silence. After an unknown amount of time, the two figures, like statues, stiffly turned their heads and looked at each other. The flickering wick stabilized, and the eerie kerosene lamp barely illuminated the dim living room. They sat trembling in their chairs, their faces utterly devoid of color. He came back, the man said hoarsely. How is this possible? If he really is a Ling, then who did we kill last night? Chapter 2. We are watching you. Is it a ghost? The frantic rain lashed against the cold window, and the hearts of the two people flickered like flames in a lamp, wavering uncertainly. I don't know. The woman swallowed. Should we notify the enforcer? Are you insane? Upon hearing the words, enforcer, the man, who had been scared silly, finally regained some semblance of reason. Once the enforcer gets involved, what we did will definitely be exposed. Absolutely not. Then, what about him? The woman paused for a moment. You don't think, Calamity, has possessed a Ling's body? Has it? Both of them simultaneously looked at the tightly closed bedroom door, falling silent once more. After a long while, the man seemed to make up his mind, took a black raincoat from the door, and pushed it open to go out. Where are you going? To the place where we buried the body. Now? To do what? To verify. Rain slid down the man's pale face, and he spoke hoarsely. No matter what that thing in the room is right now, he absolutely cannot be a Ling. I need to see his body with my own eyes. I'll go with you. No one wanted to go out in such a thunderstorm, but compared to being alone with the sleeping, unknown thing in the bedroom, the woman preferred the former. In the heavy rain, two figures in raincoats hurried away. Ellipsis. Bedroom. Chen Ling, who had fallen into a deep sleep, suddenly felt his eyelashes tremble slightly, as if he were having a nightmare. In his dream, his consciousness continuously sank, as if falling into a bottomless cave. After an unknown amount of time, he seemed to land on a hard surface, finally stabilizing himself. Thump, 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 thump. A dull mechanical sound rang out, followed by beams of light piercing the darkness like swords, converging on a figure in red. Chen Ling instinctively covered his eyes with his hand. Where is this? Chen Ling's hazy consciousness gradually cleared. After slowly adapting to the strong light, he looked around in a daze. Within the range of the light beam, he could only see the vermilion opera robe on his body, the old wooden floor beneath his feet, and the black curtain behind him, a corner of which was also illuminated by the light beam. Beyond the light beam was endless unknown and darkness. Seeing this scene, Chen Ling suddenly froze. He seemed to have thought of something. Squinting his eyes to look up, the light beams illuminating him came from spotlights fixed on steel frames. A stage? As a director working at a theater, Chen Ling was extremely familiar with stages. In his previous life, until he was crushed to death by a light, he had been pondering positions on stage. His understanding and knowledge of stages even surpassed those of actors. So, his first reaction at this moment was that he had transmigrated back again. No, The lighting effects of the theater stage in his previous life were better than this. The curtains weren't black, and the floor wasn't this old wooden one. So, was he dreaming? Chen Ling tentatively took a step, and the old floor let out a piercing creak, as his figure was about to step out of the light circle. Another beam of light followed his footsteps, chasing into the darkness. Follow spot? Chen Ling's heart skipped a beat, and he instinctively shouted, "Who's there?" These lights could follow him, so it was highly probable that they were manually controlled, unless this place also used a fully automatic follow spot system. However, judging from the old state of this stage, that possibility was almost zero. "Who's there? Who's there? There!" Chen Ling's voice echoed in the darkness, becoming increasingly eerie and chilling. At the same time, an electronic screen at the edge of the stage suddenly lit up. In stage design, this position is usually set up for a teleprompter to prevent actors or hosts from forgetting their lines midway. But on the screen at this moment, there was a string of red characters. Open black lens bracket, audience expectation, 29% close black lens bracket. In the bottom left corner of the screen, there were a few smaller words. Please do not let the audience's expectation fall below 20%. Otherwise, the theater does not guarantee the personal safety of the actor. Seeing this screen, Chen Ling felt a bit bewildered. Audience? Where did the audience come from? Thump, thump, thump. The familiar sound of lights turning on rang out again. The darkness in front of the stage receded like a tide, and hundreds of thousands of wooden chairs spread out in a tiered fashion into the distance. They surrounded the front of the stage, densely packed. Auditorium. These three words appeared in Chen Ling's mind. It was reasonable for an auditorium to appear where there was a stage. What truly made Chen Ling's scalp tingle was not this point, but that, at some unknown time, these auditorium seats were already filled with audience members. They were humanoid creatures shrouded in shadows. Even with sufficient lighting, Chen Ling still couldn't make out their appearance. They seemed like incarnations of the abyss. The only exception was their eyes. Countless crimson pupils opened in the dimness. They sat in their respective wooden chairs, watching Chen Ling on the stage, like a group of cats cornering a mouse, their gazes mocking and greedy. Chen Ling felt a chill down his neck as they stared at him. He didn't know what these audience members were, but they certainly couldn't be humans. Chen Ling forced himself to stop looking at those creepy eyes, turned around, and ran wildly to the other end of the stage. Logically, the exits of a stage are on both sides. As long as he left the stage, he should be able to temporarily escape those ghostly things. The follow spot locked onto the running figure in red, rushing straight to the edge of the stage. But what greeted him was a bare wall. Chen Ling froze. He ran to the other side of the stage, not believing it, and it was still the same. This stage had no exit at all. In the dim auditorium, dense crimson pupils followed his escape, constantly moving, like a group of audience members, engrossed in a wonderful performance. Utterly focused. And the protagonist of this performance was Chen Ling in red on the stage. At the same time, the characters on the display screen in the center of the stage flickered. The audience expectation jumped from the original 29% to 30%. Damn it, what kind of messed up nightmare was this? Chen Ling pinched himself hard, trying to actively wake up from the dream. But apart from feeling a familiar pain, there was no sign of waking up at all. Open black lens bracket, intermission over. Please continue your performance, close black lens bracket. Another line of characters popped up on the screen. And then, a crisp bell suddenly rang from above the stage. Ding-a-ling-ling. Before Chen Ling could react, the scene before his eyes shattered inch by inch, and his consciousness quickly blurred. Before he lost consciousness, he vaguely saw the massive and mysterious black curtain behind him slowly pulling open. Ellipsis. Bang. Chen Ling suddenly sat up from the bed. The bedsheet was soaked with cold sweat. His chest heaved violently, and his eyes were filled with terror. He swallowed, his gaze slowly scanning his surroundings. And after confirming that he was in his own room and not that damned stage, he finally relaxed. Was it a dream? This dream is too bizarre. He calmed himself down, got out of bed, and walked into the living room. By now, the rain outside had mostly stopped, but the sky was still dim. Chen Ling called out for his parents a few times, but no one answered. The entire house was quiet. Did they go to work so early? Chen Ling muttered to himself. Chen Ling rubbed his empty stomach. Last night's nightmare seemed to have consumed too much of his energy. He felt lightheaded even when walking. Helpless, he could only go into the kitchen to find something to eat first. As soon as he entered the door, he tripped over something. Looking down, it was the remains of a bucket, as if gnawed by a wild beast. What was wrong with this bucket? Did it crack from the cold? Chen Ling couldn't remember what happened last night at all. He muttered in suspicion, then picked up the bucket, threw it into the corner, and turned to find a rag, preparing to wipe away the water spilled on the floor. As soon as he squatted down, he froze in place. He saw the water stains on the ground begin to slide on their own, as if an invisible figure was squatting opposite him, dipping a finger in the water and writing something on the ground. The next moment, the transparent water stains visibly turned blood red, and a twisted, eerie text was outlined in front of Chen Ling. Open black lens bracket. We are watching you. Close black lens bracket. Chapter 3. Disaster. Chen Ling's pupils suddenly constricted. However, when he blinked, the blood-red characters on the ground instantly vanished, as if they had never existed. A hallucination? Chen Ling stood rooted to the spot. Those few words seemed to have drilled into his mind. Impossible to forget. We are watching you. Chen Ling abruptly turned his head. In the empty living room, invisible crimson eyes seemed to be observing him. The feeling of being stared at was exactly like in his nightmare. He stood stiff as a statue for a long time, then began to force himself to breathe deeply. Maybe I was too tired from staying up late for the enforcer exam these past few days. My mind was too tense. But this was something the _8_ of this body did. It shouldn't have anything to do with me. Could it be that there was a problem when the two souls merged, damaging my spirit? I heard that severe schizophrenia can indeed cause hallucinations that are difficult to distinguish. Chen Ling temporarily suppressed the fear in his heart, trying to explain all of this with science. A strong sense of hunger surged into his mind. He casually took a grilled sausage from the cutting board and swallowed it in a few bites. Only then did he somewhat recover. Perhaps I need a psychiatrist. Startled, Chen Ling didn't even bother to wash his face. He hurriedly put on a black cotton overcoat and pushed the door open. Even so, the cold air that rushed in from behind the door made Chen Ling shiver. This was Chen Ling's first formal contact with this world after regaining consciousness. He took a deep breath, preparing himself to face all unknowns and difficulties. However, when he inadvertently looked up at the sky, holy crap, still burst out involuntarily. The light of early morning scattered from the east, and dreamlike blue ribbons floated above the small town, seemingly close at hand yet impossibly distant. Aurora in the daytime. Chen Ling stood at his doorstep, staring blankly at the sky full of aurora for a long time, muttering to himself, what the hell is this world? Ellipsis. Damn it, why is this road so hard to walk? The weather's too cold, and it just rained heavily last night. The mountain roads are all frozen. Be careful, we've been dragging our feet all the way. It's already daylight. The man wiped the sweat from his forehead. How much further do we have? That Chuwu is just ahead. We should be there soon. Two stumbling figures climbed over the mountain peak and finally saw the numerous mounds in the distance. These mounds were new and old, most of them without inscriptions. Just a wooden plaque or an item belonging to the deceased placed in front of them. But after last night's heavy rain, many of the mounds here were washed away, and wooden sticks and other items were scattered haphazardly everywhere, leaving the scene in a mess. What the two didn't expect was that the Chuwu was already cordoned off with yellow caution tape, and more than a dozen figures were moving within the sealed area, their expressions somewhat grave. Enforcers? Seeing the conspicuous black and red uniforms of those people, the man's eyes widened. Why are they here? They've already found out? The woman's face turned pale. Is it a Ling? Did he go to find the enforcers? He's really not dead? They thought they had killed Chen Ling. But the next day Chen Ling returned on his own. Plus the sudden appearance of the enforcers at the burial site. There was almost no other explanation. No, the man stared intently at those figures. Enforcers from the 3rd district. Even for criminal cases, at most only 3 people would be dispatched. For this many, a dozen people at once. It can only be. A disaster has appeared? The woman seemed to have thought of something, and cold sweat instantly drenched her back. Could that monster in the bedroom be? Run! The man grabbed the woman's wrist and turned to flee from the area. Just then, a cold voice came from not far away. Stop! The two figures instantly froze. An enforcer ducked under the caution tape and slowly walked over to the two. His eyes narrowed slightly. Who are you? What are you doing here? The woman stammered, unable to speak. We came to see our son. The man spoke as calmly as possible. He's buried here. Today is his death anniversary. Then why are you running? Because we're scared. Scared? With so many enforcers dispatched at once. The Grey Realm must be converging here. Right? The man swallowed. Maybe there are even disasters crawling out of it. We're afraid of being caught in the crossfire. Oh, you seem to know quite a lot. The enforcer raised an eyebrow in surprise. The man forced a pale smile. Enforcer, sir, the woman asked cautiously, are there really disasters that have escaped from the Grey Realm? That's classified. The enforcer replied indifferently, you won't be able to visit your son today. You should all go back. What you've seen here is not allowed to be spread. You understand the rules, right? Yes, yes. Go. Hearing these two words, the man finally breathed a sigh of relief and immediately turned to leave. Wait. Both their hearts skipped a beat. Please leave your name and address. The enforcer took out a pen and paper. It's a requirement of the confidentiality regulations. Please understand. Chen Tan, Li Shuchen, Han Shuang Street, 12-8, 3rd District. After recording, the enforcer let the two leave and then crossed the yellow caution tape to approach a man in a black overcoat. Handing him the document. Meng Zhe, I've clarified. They came to see their son. Han Meng held a hand-rolled cigarette. Taking a deep drag, the acrid smoke mixed with his breath, dissipating in the cold wind. He casually glanced at the document and spoke calmly. Send a few people to follow them secretly. They have a problem. Huh? Han Shuang Street is at least 10 kilometers from here. For them to arrive at this time, they must have left no later than 4 a.m. At that time, the rain hadn't stopped yet. Who would brave a heavy rain on a mountain before dawn to pay respects? Also, this is Chuwu, a place for those without family or who died far from home. As parents, why would they bury their child here? The enforcer was stunned, then slapped his forehead. You're right, why didn't I think of that? Xiao Qin, how did you pass the enforcer exam back then? The enforcer called Xiao Qin let out a dry laugh and immediately changed the subject. By the way, Meng Zhe, so did a disaster really crawl out of the Grey Realm last night? Han Meng didn't answer. Instead, he pulled a palm-sized instrument from the inside pocket of his overcoat. In the center of the instrument was a compass-like pointer device, with different colors marking different areas of the scale, clear and distinct. Is this the disaster compass? Zhang Qin curiously examined the instrument, reaching out to touch it, but his hand was sharply smacked. This thing is very precious. When you're promoted to enforcement officer, you'll naturally have a chance to touch it. Zhang Qin rubbed his hand bitterly. How exactly does this thing work? This is a device for detecting the danger level of a disaster. Once it's turned on, whichever area the pointer points to indicates the magnitude of the disaster fluctuation that has appeared nearby. If it's just a simple Grey Realm convergence and no disaster has crawled into the real world, then it won't react. The higher the level of the disaster, the more violently the pointer will shake. Zhang Qin nodded, speaking with some concern. Meng Zhe, there shouldn't be any disasters that crawled out. Right? Most likely not, because if a disaster really descended through here yesterday, then the 2nd District and 3rd District would have already been in chaos. That's good. To be safe, we still need to complete the detection. As Han Meng spoke, he turned on the disaster compass. The other enforcers, seeing this, all looked over curiously. 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds. The disaster compass showed no reaction. Just as Han Meng breathed a sigh of relief, the pointer on the compass suddenly began to tremble violently. The pointer swept wildly across different colored areas, and a piercing screeching sound came from inside the instrument. Han Meng's pupils suddenly constricted, and he instinctively let go of the disaster compass. Bang! Countless parts shattered in midair, and the sharp broken tip of the pointer grazed Han Meng's cheek, instantly leaving a crimson bloodstain. The disaster compass exploded. Chapter 4. They exist. Achoo! In the cold wind, Chen Ling suddenly sneezed. As a northerner in his previous life, Chen Ling was still somewhat unable to cope with the weather here, cold and damp. Although there was a big sun overhead, he couldn't feel the slightest warmth. Excuse me, a lazy voice came from ahead. Chen Ling came back to his senses and instinctively moved to the side of the road. At the end of the road, a tricycle was slowly approaching. One teenager was riding it, and another was sitting on the seat behind, with 2 large barrels of salt beside him. He scooped up salt with a spoon and sprinkled it on the frosty road. As the salt grains fell, the ice on the ground gradually melted. Oh, Chen Ling? The person sprinkling salt saw Chen Ling standing by the road and raised his eyebrows. Didn't expect to see the top student here. Didn't you go to take the enforcer exam? Did you fail? When Chen Ling saw that face, a memory flooded his mind. His name was Zhao Yi, a child who grew up on the same street as Chen Ling since childhood. However, he was naturally envious. When Chen Ling had good grades in high school, Zhao Yi's mother often compared him to Chen Ling, which made him dislike Chen Ling intensely. The written test passed. There's still the martial arts test. Chen Ling stood by the road and casually replied, "Hee, then I wish you great luck in your exam." While saying this, Zhao Yi scooped up a large spoonful of salt and forcefully threw it towards the nearby road, coincidentally affecting Chen Ling, who was standing by the roadside. The flying salt grains covered Chen Ling's hair and cotton robe. He hadn't expected Zhao Yi to pull such a trick. He quickly brushed off the salt grains with his hand, then turned back to glare at Zhao Yi. By this time, Zhao Yi was already riding away on the tricycle. Swaying leisurely, he had one foot resting on the salt barrel and stuck out his tongue at Chen Ling, making a face. As a 28-year-old adult who had experienced the harsh realities of society, Chen Ling felt a bit angry and a bit amused by such a clumsy prank. However, Chen Ling had no intention of chasing after the boy and giving him a good beating. He merely made a mental note of the incident. At this moment, he had more important things to do. Chen Ling was about to step forward and continue walking when his peripheral vision caught sight of the ground beneath his feet. And he paused slightly. The frost that had come into contact with the salt grains gradually melted, leaving a slight white residue on the ground. In that instant, Chen Ling saw a line of text intertwine and form. Open black lens bracket audience expectation, 27% close black lens bracket. Before Chen Ling could react, the salt grains completely melted, and the scene from just now seemed like a fleeting illusion. Chen Ling rubbed his eyes hard and muttered to himself, "No way." A sense of urgency rose again, and Chen Ling couldn't help but quicken his pace, rushing straight towards the clinic. A few minutes later, Chen Ling pushed open the clinic door. Though called a clinic, it was actually just a private house on Han Shuang Street, 2 stories high, with a square, earthy gray exterior. It immediately reminded Chen Ling of the houses in his rural hometown. But even such a rough house was considered quite good on Han Shuang Street. At least it had 2 stories and could block the wind. "It's you." From behind the wooden table, a man in a doctor white coat turned slightly. "Are you here to get medicine for your younger brother again? Didn't he transfer to the hospital in 2nd District? This time it's not Ayan. It's me." Chen Ling's younger brother had been hospitalized here before and was quite familiar with Lin Doctor. He walked to the table and sat down, looking a bit nervous. "Oh, are you feeling unwell somewhere?" My head doesn't feel quite right. Is it a physical headache? Or, recently, I seem to have been experiencing hallucinations. Psychiatry? Lin Doctor raised his eyebrows and seriously pushed up his black-rimmed glasses. "I'm good at this. Tell me about your condition." "Last night I had a dream where I was standing on a stage, and there were many spectators below. I couldn't see their faces, but they didn't look like humans. I ran desperately on the stage, but I could never find an exit. Dream interpretation is not within my scope of business." "I know." Chen Ling took a deep breath. "But after I woke up, I always felt they were still watching me." Hearing this, Lin Doctor finally became interested. "Imagining yourself being spied on? It doesn't feel like imagination. They seem to be in my mind, sitting in the audience, observing my every move, and I'm like an actor forced to perform, just a tool to entertain them." "Are you saying your life is a stage, and you are the sole protagonist on that stage?" "The meaning is right, but it's not as positive as you make it sound." "What about the audience? Besides spying on you, did they do anything else?" Chen Ling was silent for a moment. "I don't know if it's my illusion. They seem to be able to influence things around me. Can affect reality? That sounds a bit fantastical." Lin Doctor said, picking up his teacup and taking a sip. Just as he was about to say something, his expression suddenly changed. Peeved, Lin Doctor spat out a mouthful of crimson blood, splattering it on the ground. "Lin Doctor?" Chen Ling was startled. "Are you sick?" "No." Lin Doctor wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. The blood wasn't his. He frowned in thought for a moment, his gaze falling on the teacup at the corner of the table. At some point, the teacup was already filled with viscous blood. Lin Doctor's face was a bit grim. He clearly remembered that he had brewed a packet of pu'er tea in it just a minute ago. During this time, there were only him and Chen Ling in the clinic. Chen Ling was always under his watchful eye, making it impossible and without motive for him to swap the tea. That full cup of fresh blood appeared as if by magic. Bizarrely, Chen Ling also seemed to have thought of something, his face growing paler. Just as I said, he spoke hoarsely. They, perhaps, truly exist. Lin Doctor stared at the cup of blood for a long time before slowly looking at him. How long has this situation been going on? One day, Chen Ling paused. Since I became fully conscious. Only one day. What were you doing before you became conscious? What were you doing? In Chen Ling's mind, the image of him stumbling through the heavy rain last night suddenly appeared. I don't know, I can't remember. So, you're not sure if this symptom started last night, and you have no memory before last night? Yes. Have you ever been possessed by a calamity? Lin Doctor pushed up his glasses. Or let me rephrase. Last night, did you encounter a Grey Realm convergence? Chapter 5. Grey Realm. Grey Realm intersection? The term indeed existed in Chen Ling's memory. The original host must have seen it somewhere. Don't tell me you even forgot about the Grey Realm. Lin Doctor stood up, poured the fresh blood from his teacup into the drainpipe, and slowly began to speak. Before the Great Disaster, someone once proposed a hypothesis that in this universe, countless parallel timelines exist. These timelines were all formed from the birth of the earliest universe. Like light rays released after a candle flame is lit, spreading in all directions. But because light rays are infinite, they extend infinitely in all possibilities and never intersect. But after the red meteor streaked across, everything went awry. All timelines were stirred into fluctuation, and an unknown, eerie gray world began to overlap with the real world. After washing his teacup, Lin Doctor did not pour out the water but placed it on the table. Because he used some force during the process, the water surface inside the cup rippled. Lin Doctor tore off a piece of paper and placed it on top of the rippling water. The undulating water began to dampen the paper, starting from unevenly distributed small water stains and gradually permeating the entire paper surface. Initially, only a small part intersected, but as time passed, more and more areas intersected. Matter and creatures from that world began to appear in our world. And even most of the habitats originally belonging to humans have now been occupied by that world, leaving only 9 domains to shelter humanity and keep the flame alive. Because the sky in that world is gray, we call it the Grey Realm. When the Grey Realm intersects with reality, a series of bizarre events beyond comprehension will occur, and even monsters belonging to the Grey Realm, which we call calamities, will descend. Generally speaking, among survivors who encounter Grey Realm intersections or are attacked by calamities, 80% will experience mental derangement, and most of them will never recover. I suspect your current situation is related to the Grey Realm. Think hard. Have you ever encountered a Grey Realm intersection and been caught in it? Faced with Lin Doctor's inquiry, Chen Ling tried hard to search the original host's memories but ultimately found nothing. No matter how he recalled, he couldn't remember any other memories from last night. I don't know, he said bitterly. Lin Doctor pondered for a moment, took out a letter from a drawer, and quickly began to write. Your situation is no longer as simple as a mental illness. I am just an ordinary person and cannot cure you. However, I know someone who might be able to help with treating the after effects of Grey Realm contamination. After all, he is a true open black lens bracket doctor, close black lens bracket. Hearing this, a faint light lit up in Chen Ling's eyes. Where can I find him? He lives in Aurora City, but he usually likes to travel around offering free medical consultations. I heard he goes wherever there are difficult and complicated diseases. This is their path to becoming a god. In short, hand this letter to the enforcer at the gate of Aurora City. Leave your name and address, and they will forward it for you. Within 3 days at most. That open black lens bracket doctor, close black lens bracket, will come to you personally. Thank you. Chen Ling took the envelope and thanked him sincerely. In fact, when he saw the salt grains melting on the road, Chen Ling already felt something was wrong. What was happening to him seemed no longer explainable by illness. Coming to this small clinic was partly because he had already walked halfway, and partly because he truly didn't know where else could possibly help him besides here. According to Lin Doctor, this open black lens bracket doctor, close black lens bracket, seemed to have something special about him. And he even mentioned the path to becoming a god. Could it be that this world also had a unique human cultivation system? Otherwise, according to Lin Doctor's statement, All of humanity should have died out during the so-called Great Disaster and Grey Realm intersection. Chen Ling even felt that the distorted scientific level of this world might also be related to the Great Disaster. You're welcome. Say hello to your brother for me. Lin Doctor smiled slightly. He's still hospitalized in the 2nd district. I'll pass on your regards next time I visit him. Chen Ling got up, bid farewell to Lin Doctor, and pushed the door open to leave. As that figure gradually disappeared beneath the aurora-filled sky, Lin Doctor's eyes narrowed slightly. A performer. Huh. Ellipsis. The first time I saw the screen in my dream, the audience expectation was 29%. When I tried to escape, it jumped to 30%. On the way here, it dropped back to 27%. Just now, when Lin Doctor was pranked, it rose to 29% again. Assuming the audience is really in my mind, and these numbers are not hallucinations, then what exactly influences the rise and fall of expectation? The cold wind was bleak. Chen Ling, wrapped in a thick cotton robe, walked towards home while deep in thought. Stage, audience, expectation. Every time the expectation increased, it seemed to be accompanied by an event. Could these events be seen as plots on a stage? The more interesting the events happening around him, the greater the plot's appeal to the audience, thereby increasing expectation. The screen said that if the audience expectation falls below 20%, the actor's personal safety will not be guaranteed. Chen Ling didn't know what kind of danger it was, but judging from the fact that the audience could interfere with reality to a certain extent, he might end up becoming their tool for venting anger. Pranked to death by magic. Chen Ling felt his line of reasoning was correct, but to prove its accuracy, he still needed to take practical action. Perhaps I should try to actively design plots. Chen Ling muttered to himself. Ling, have you had breakfast? Chen Ling turned his head and saw an uncle with a towel wrapped around his head fanning a stove in a breakfast stall on the street, warmly calling out to him. The moment he saw him, an idea suddenly flashed through Chen Ling's mind. Not yet, Uncle Zhao. Chen Ling's lips curved slightly, and he walked towards the stall. Come, let me get you some soy milk and fried dough sticks. It rained heavily last night, and the humidity is high. It's not good if you don't eat some breakfast to warm up. Uncle Zhao came over, serving a bowl of steaming hot soy milk. Thanks, Uncle Zhao. Chen Ling fumbled in his pocket, pulled out 3 copper coins, and handed them to Uncle Zhao, but the latter pushed them back. Uncle's treating you to breakfast. How can I let you pay? No, Uncle Zhao, even though we've been neighbors for over 10 years, what should be counted still has to be counted. You kid, Uncle doesn't want your money. When you have time, help Xiaoyi with his homework more often, and Uncle will bring you breakfast every day. Uncle Zhao said with a grin, revealing a mouthful of large yellow teeth. Didn't he already graduate? Does he still need tutoring? With his scores, he won't even get assigned a job. I plan to let him repeat a year. He can't just work odd jobs every day, can he? Oh, Ling is still the best. Smart and filial. If only Xiaoyi could pass the enforcer exam like you someday. I'd wake up laughing in my dreams. Uncle Zhao sighed. Too bad, this kid isn't striving. Chen Ling's hand holding the chopsticks paused slightly. After hesitating for a moment, he still spoke. Uncle Zhao, do you know why Xiaoyi's studies are so bad? Huh? Why? Chen Ling was about to say something but then fell silent for a long time. He still shook his head. Never mind, Uncle Zhao, just forget I mentioned it. I promised him to keep it a secret. Don't. Uncle Zhao's heart raced. He casually added a braised egg to Chen Ling's bowl, scratching his head anxiously. Ling, I know you're Xiaoyi's good friend, but some things, I, as his father, need to know a little, right? I raised Xiaoyi alone, getting up early and staying up late to earn money to send him to school. Also, he could have a better life later. If you know anything, you must tell me. We're all doing it for his own good. Seeing Uncle Zhao's urgent questioning, Chen Ling was slightly moved. He deliberated for a moment, as if having made up his mind. Uncle Zhao, you're right. As a friend, I also can't bear to see Zhao Yi continue to degenerate like this. Degenerate? What exactly happened to him? He's in love. Huh? Uncle Zhao was stunned. That kid has that kind of charm? Chen Ling took a bite of his fried dough stick without changing his expression, and calmly uttered 3 words. With a man. Chapter 6. Chen Ling's Directing Principles. Chen Ling's Directing Principles. Rule 9. Creating and developing a plot hinges on setting up conflicts. If the story's inherent conflict isn't strong or captivating enough, then create misunderstandings to propel the plot forward. A smile flashed in Chen Ling's eyes as he recalled a few principles he had secretly summarized when he was a director in his previous life. Audience anticipation +3. Current anticipation, 32%. The moment Chen Ling saw these 2 lines of text appear in the soy milk, he knew he had guessed correctly. Uncle Zhao's expression visibly stiffened. He looked at Chen Ling in shock. First bewildered, then astonished, and finally fell into a deathly silence. Uncle Zhao, I promised Xiao Yi I'd keep it a secret, but Uncle Xiao Yi is your only son. You must want him to carry on the family line for you, and he's always hanging out with another boy. It really will affect his studies. Chen Ling sighed. Today, I even saw him sitting on the back of that boy's bike, smiling so happily. Uncle Zhao's body trembled slightly. His hands involuntarily clenched into fists, and his breathing grew heavier. All right, Uncle understands. Uncle Zhao forced a smile onto his face, which looked somewhat eerie. Thank you, Ling. Oh, and Uncle, I promised Xiao Yi to keep this a secret, so you absolutely must not tell him that I told you. Don't worry, Uncle knows. Chen Ling finished the last sip of soy milk, then bid farewell to Uncle Zhao and left the shop. But Uncle Zhao seemed not to have heard, burying his head in the room, searching for something. A few minutes later, he pulled out a fist-thick stick from a corner and slowly sat down on the bench in front of the shop. A cold wind swept across the Han Shuang Street, blowing a few of Uncle Zhao's sparse hairs, along with the sweat-soaked towel on his forehead. He sat there quietly, one hand propping the stick on the ground, his bloodshot eyes fixed intently on the end of the Han Shuang Street. Looking exactly like a general brimming with killing intent, Chen Ling appeared to leave the Han Shuang Street, but actually sneaked back through the alley. He stood under the shade of a tree in the corner, able to see the entire shop. A few minutes later, a tricycle swayed slowly from the end of the road. Zhao Yi sat on the side of the vehicle with his legs crossed, the 2 buckets of salt behind him completely empty. He played with the few copper coins he had just earned, smiling so widely his mouth was almost reaching his ears. Hey, making money isn't that hard, is it, Brother Yi? It's certainly not hard for you. I'm the one who rode the bike all day. The young man in front stood up, pedaling the tricycle hard, saying breathlessly, we're all brothers. Why distinguish between us? Zhao Yi took out 2 copper coins from his palm and slipped them into the young man's pocket. Here, for you. Not far away, seeing Zhao Yi actively touch the young man's waist, Uncle Zhao's eyelids couldn't help but twitch. Brother Yi, I rode for you all day, and you only gave me 2 coins? The young man's eyes widened. Didn't you get 20 from the Road Administration Bureau? Riding is physical work, spreading salt is technical work. So of course I should get more. Zhao Yi replied lazily, then leapt off the tricycle, squinting and waving at the young man. Tomorrow, I'll wait for you at the usual spot. If you dare not come, I'll beat you every time I see you. Understand? With that, he clutched the remaining 18 copper coins in his hand and walked towards his shop with his head held high and chest puffed out. The young man on the bike looked at him angrily, but as Zhao Yi glared back fiercely, he immediately cowered, only able to lower his head dejectedly and continue pedaling, going home alone. Zhao Yi, the young bully of Han Shuang Street, was almost untouchable among the younger generation. The young man on the bike, having been exploited for a day, could only grit his teeth and swallow his frustration. Dad, I'm back. Zhao Yi strode forward, 18 copper coins in hand. He had never been so confident coming home. But for some reason, as soon as he reached the shop entrance, he felt a chill wash over him. The figure holding the wooden stick slowly stood up, the atmosphere suddenly dropping to freezing point. Uncle Zhao's furious eyes locked onto Zhao Yi, like a general holding a spear. He walked menacingly towards him. Dad? Zhao Yi saw the stick and instinctively took a step back. It's him, isn't it? Uncle Zhao pointed at the young man who was huffing and puffing as he rode away, his hand trembling with anger. You little bastard. Instead of studying properly, you're secretly doing this? If you were having a proper relationship with a girl, that would be one thing. But you're looking for a man. For crying out loud? Can a man give you children? Can he carry on our old Zhao family line? You want to end your old man's lineage. Uncle Zhao cursed loudly while chasing Zhao Yi frantically with the stick, the latter yelping in pain from the blows. Hearing Uncle Zhao's angry curses, the neighbors on half the Han Shuang Street pricked up their ears. They gathered nearby curiously, starting to point fingers at the fleeing Zhao Yi, whispering to each other about something, and simultaneously showing shocked expressions. Audience anticipation +1, +1, +1. As Zhao Yi yelped in pain from the beating, the numbers in front of Chen Ling's eyes kept flickering. If he could enter the theater in his mind again, he would see the dense shadows of audience members watching this scene with great interest. A subtle smile playing on their lips. The conflict is right, but there aren't enough characters yet. Chen Ling's gaze fell on the tricycle in the distance. Xiao Lu, hearing Chen Ling's call, the young man on the bike, who was dazedly watching the drama unfold, turned his head. Brother Ling, you're here too? When you went to melt snow today, how much money did Xiao Yi give you? 2 coins. At the mention of this, resentment appeared on the young man's face. He went back on his word. He originally said he'd let me ride and give me the majority of the money earned. But he only gave me this much, and even threatened me to continue being his laborer tomorrow. Do you want to get revenge on him? Chen Ling looked into his eyes. Or rather, do you want him to never dare bully you again, and even walk around you when he sees you? Yes. Then I'll teach you. While the two were whispering, Zhao Yi was already exhausted from being chased. Dad, stop hitting me. I really didn't get involved in homosexuality. Zhao Yi finally reacted, explaining desperately, I swear, I, Zhao Yi, have always only liked women, especially the full-figured and charming kind. The mouths of the onlookers slightly widened, as if deep in thought. Uncle Zhao was stunned, and his steps immediately slowed down. Then what's your relationship with that boy on the bike? We're just ordinary friends. Are you serious? Of course it's true. Brother Yi, a young figure pushed through the crowd, rushing like mad to Zhao Yi's side, wrapping his arms around Zhao Yi's body, using his back to shield him from the wooden stick. Zhao Yi was stunned. Uncle Zhao was also stunned. Zhao Yi's mind went blank. Before Zhao Yi could speak, the young man, with red-rimmed eyes, loudly declared to Uncle Zhao, if you're going to hit someone, hit me, don't hit my brother Yi. The atmosphere suddenly became dead silent. Audience anticipation +2, +2, +2, +2. Chapter 7. Entire district locked down. That afternoon, the screams on Han Shuang Street barely ceased. Yet, Chen Ling, the instigator of it all, quietly sat under a tree, propping his head up, enjoying the show with the surrounding onlookers, while also monitoring the changes in open black lens bracket audience expectation close black lens bracket. Initially, when Uncle Zhao hit Zhao Yi's butt, the audience expectation would increase slightly, but after a few hits, the growth stagnated, finally settling at 48%. After watching for a long time, the expectation value actually dropped by 1%, becoming 47%. It seems the audience also got a bit bored. Are all the audience members in my head just thrill seekers? Chen Ling couldn't help but wonder. Through this experiment, Chen Ling could now confirm that the audience's expectation value changed based on his actions. If the event he was experiencing was exciting enough, the expectation value would rise. But if there was no excitement for a long time, the expectation value would drop with the passage of time. Doesn't that mean if he wants to maintain the expectation value above 20%, he has to continuously create exciting plots? Today, Zhao Yi provoked him first. And since the other party was a Han Shuang Street bully, teaching him a small lesson was understandable, but he couldn't do this every day. Could he? If this continued, wouldn't he be destined to become a great demon causing havoc in the human realm? Thinking of this, Chen Ling felt a bit weary. Now, Chen Ling's only lifeline was the doctor in Aurora City that Lin Doctor mentioned. Perhaps he could remove whatever disaster pollution was in his body and save him from this passive thrill-seeker life trajectory. Just as Chen Ling was deep in thought, a low bell chime came from afar. Dong, dong, dong. 3 bell chimes, as if capable of piercing through space, echoed in every corner of the world. The moment they heard the bell, the faces of the surrounding crowd changed, and even Uncle Zhao, who was chasing Zhao Yi, stopped, looking in surprise at the distance. 3 disaster bells? An old man's face was extremely grim. How is this possible? The disaster bells ringing are an early warning signal from the enforcer, indicating that they have detected traces of Grey Realm convergence in the greater district. Meaning a disaster has invaded. Didn't they say the Aurora domain is protected by Aurora and rarely converges with the Grey Realm? In the past 10 years, disasters have appeared no more than 3 times. Where is that disaster now? I don't know, but hurry home. Don't come out if you have nothing to do. Hearing the 3 disaster bells ring, everyone's faces were uniformly pale. Zhao Yi, who had just been screaming from the beating, went limp in his legs and directly collapsed to the ground. The ground beneath his feet trembled slightly. Chen Ling turned his head and saw more than a dozen fast horses galloping from afar. Each horse carried a figure in a black and red uniform, with a pistol holster slung at their waist. Their expressions equally solemn. Suspected high-risk disaster detected. 3rd District is completely locked down. No one is allowed to enter or exit. Pay attention to all suspicious signs around you, such as roads or buildings appearing out of thin air, strange-looking mysterious creatures, or even humans behaving abnormally. If anything unusual is found, report it to the enforcer immediately. Everyone, please cooperate with the investigation. The voices of the enforcers echoed throughout Han Shuang Street and every corner of the 3rd District, accompanied by the lingering chimes of the disaster bells in the air. An inexplicable tension enveloped the world. At this moment, no one had any interest in watching the show anymore. Everyone rushed home, and even Zhao Yi, after taking a big slap, was dragged into the house by his father, who was scolding him. Chen Ling stood alone under the tree, also preparing to go home. Just then, 2 lines of characters flashed in the pile of fallen leaves. Open black lens bracket audience expectation plus 18 close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket current expectation, 65% close black lens bracket. Seeing the audience expectation surge, Chen Ling was stunned. The next moment, a chilling thought suddenly popped into his mind. They couldn't be coming for me. Could they? Ellipsis. 3rd District. Enforcer Headquarters. Dim sunlight filtered through the hemispherical glazed dome, refracting colorful glimmers that illuminated the interior. A flag tens of meters long hung high on a rope in the center, with 2 overlapping cyan hexagrams on a black background, like shining stars in the Arctic night sky. Below the flag, a dozen enforcers in black and red uniforms stood in a solemn, straight line, facing the headquarters' main entrance, as if waiting for something. As the large doors opened, 5 enforcement officers in black trench coats walked in side by side. Among the 5, Han Meng walked in the center, his trench coat hem etched with 4 silver patterns, while the other 4 only had 3 patterns. With their arrival, all the enforcers present immediately stood at attention. How is the situation? Han Meng asked in a deep voice. The disaster bells have rung. The 3rd District is currently completely locked down, but there's no trace of that disaster yet. An enforcer hesitated for a moment, then couldn't help but ask, Meng Zhe, what does the self-destruction of the disaster pointer mean? The self-destruction of the disaster pointer only occurs in 2 situations, Han Meng calmly stated. The first is the arrival of a special disaster whose ability happens to render the disaster pointer ineffective. However, this explanation is only theoretical. So far, no such disaster has been discovered. The second is the invasion of a level 9, commonly known as an apocalyptic level disaster, whose residual energy fluctuations exceed the pointer's tolerance limit, causing it to automatically explode. Apocalyptic level? Everyone's faces turned pale. Don't be so nervous. You don't really think an apocalyptic disaster would descend, do you? The enforcement officer next to Han Meng chuckled. An apocalyptic level disaster is capable of annihilating an entire human realm. There are only a few of them in the entire Grey Realm. If an apocalyptic disaster truly descended, let alone the 3rd District, even Aurora City would probably be reduced to ashes the moment it arrived. Hearing this, everyone finally breathed a sigh of relief. So, it should just be a special disaster. Currently, this is the only explanation. But if the disaster pointer is broken, how are we supposed to rate it? It cannot be rated. Han Meng shook his head. Unless it reappears and we engage with it. The most important thing now is to deploy all available personnel for a carpet search, to find it before it actively harms anyone. A carpet search, but our manpower might not be enough. Then temporarily call in the reserve enforcers. Didn't the written exam just finish a few days ago? Gather those who passed and tell them this is the practical exam. Yes. Chapter 8. Killing Game. Han Shuang Street. 2 disheveled figures stood at their doorstep, their faces filled with hesitation. The house that once belonged to them was now occupied by someone who had died and come back to life, or rather, a thing. Chuwu had been contaminated by the Grey Realm last night, so the occupant inside was most likely a calamity disguised as Chen Ling. What do we do now? Li Shuchen swallowed. What can we do? Chen Tan took a deep breath. Go in. Quickly grab all our belongings. And then run. Run to the 5th district or District 6, in short. The farther from here the better. But he's still inside. What if we wake him up? He has already left. Chen Tan looked at the muddy footprints at the doorstep and said with certainty. Hearing this, the woman finally breathed a sigh of relief. She opened the door with a key. And the two rushed in. Only take money and valuables. Don't take anything too bulky. I'll go to the bedroom. You go to the living room. Quick, 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 hurry up, we don't know when he'll be back. The two frantically pulled out 2 gunny sacks and began to pack their things. The man opened the drawer, stuffed all the money into his pocket, and was about to leave when he saw the axe by the bed, which was used for self-defense. After a brief hesitation, he stuffed it into the sack as well. Their family was not wealthy, and there were very few valuable things. But precisely because of these 2 points, the two were reluctant to give up the only belongings they had earned with their own hands. Li Shuchen shoved 3 cotton and linen clothes into her pocket, confirmed that nothing was left behind, and hurried to the living room. The two carried the sacks on their shoulders, ready to leave, when Li Shuchen suddenly spoke. If we leave, what about Ayan when he comes back? Then we'll go to the 2nd district first. After we pick him up, we'll take him and run. Chen Tan answered decisively. He'll definitely look for his brother. His brother is already dead. As Chen Tan spoke, he prepared to open the door. Just then, the rustling sound of a key inserting into the lock came. The 2 figures suddenly froze in place. The door slowly opened, and a young man walked in. Chen Ling saw the 2 carrying sacks, was slightly startled, and asked in confusion, Dad, Mom, where are you going? Chen Tan and Li Shuchen turned pale, as if they had seen a ghost. At the same time, a fast horse galloped past outside the window, and the shouts of the enforcer echoed over the street. Suspected high-risk calamity detected. 3rd district is completely sealed off. No one is allowed to enter or exit. Pay attention to all suspicious signs around you, such as roads or buildings appearing out of thin air, mysterious creatures with strange appearances, and even humans with abnormal behavior. If you find anything unusual, report it to the enforcer immediately. The enforcer's voice gradually faded away. In the narrow house, the atmosphere fell into an eerie silence. Hearing the voices outside, the two's legs trembled. They looked at the young man in front of them in horror, who in a trance transformed into a fanged demon from hell. Chen Ling's gaze fell on the 2 large sacks, and he then recalled what the enforcer had just shouted, and he opened his mouth to comfort them. Don't worry too much. That calamity doesn't seem to be nearby. Isn't the street still fine? Chen Tan, Li Shuchen, Chen Ling was also helpless. Originally, when he heard the news of some world-destroying calamity invading, he hadn't thought much of it. But when he saw the audience's expectation value surge, he immediately felt that something was wrong. Zhao Yi had been beaten all afternoon, and only barely gained a dozen points of expectation. But the enforcer just shouted once, and the expectation value surged to over 60. According to Chen Ling's current understanding, this meant that they had found a very exciting source of entertainment. Unfortunately, this entertainment might be himself. Lin Doctor had also mentioned the Grey Realm convergence and calamity before, and he just happened to transmigrate last night, and the original host's memory from that night was gone. All these clues combined, if this calamity wasn't him, then who could it be? Chen Ling guessed that what these enforcers were looking for was very likely the audience in his mind. Chen Ling had also considered whether to directly turn himself in to the enforcer and let them find a way to solve the audience in his mind. But judging from their attitude towards calamity, it was more likely that they would eliminate him along with it. All in all, he decided to try to ride out this storm first and observe the situation. Seeing that the two were still tense and extremely nervous, Chen Ling sighed and proactively reached out to help Li Shuchen with the sack. Mom, where can you run off to at a time like this? The 2nd district and 3rd district are sealed off. You can't get out at all. Are you going to sleep on the streets outside? When Li Shuchen heard the first sentence, she was scared silly. Only after hearing the rest of the words did she barely come back to her senses. And she said with a dry laugh, Yes, you're right. Dad, you put it down too. Don't be too nervous. If we run away, what about Ayan? Chen Tan swallowed, his eyes fixed on Chen Ling, trying to find even a trace of abnormality or killing intent on the latter's face, but he failed. Chen Ling's every move did not resemble a calamity, and there was no difference from the Chen Ling in his mind. But Chen Tan knew very well in his heart, he was not Chen Ling. Chen Ling was already dead. You two sit down for a bit. I'll go to the kitchen and pour you some water. Chen Ling saw that their faces were still pale, pulled out the chairs by the table, and then turned and walked into the kitchen. Li Shuchen and Chen Tan exchanged glances, and finally sat down obediently. While Chen Ling was pouring water in the kitchen, he thought about how to ease the atmosphere, and casually said, "By the way, Mom, the roasted sausage you left for me this morning was very fragrant. How did you make it?" Roasted sausage? Li Shuchen was a little bewildered. Last night, she and Chen Tan went to Chuwu. Where did she leave any roasted sausage? It was the one on the cutting board. Chen Ling replied. The bewilderment in Li Shuchen's eyes grew stronger. She tried hard to recall. And finally, as if she remembered something, her face turned as pale as paper. "When did you leave him a roasted sausage?" Chen Tan asked in a low voice. I didn't leave any." Li Shuchen also lowered her voice, trembling as she replied, "On that cutting board, there was originally a Jiu Dao bone blade. But just now when I was tidying up, I found the blade was gone." Chen Tan's face also changed dramatically. At the same time, Chen Ling, standing with his back to them in the kitchen, slowly continued, "That roasted sausage smelled very fragrant, but it seemed a bit hard. Mom, remember to roast it a bit softer for me tomorrow." The living room was deadly silent. Chen Ling poured the water and handed it to them, only to find that their faces seemed even paler. "Are you two okay? Are you feeling unwell?" Chen Ling asked, puzzled, sitting opposite them. "We're fine." Chen Tan took a deep breath, subtly pulled the sack on the floor to his feet, and his voice became a little steadier. "Ling. Do you still remember what happened yesterday?" "Yesterday?" Chen Ling tried to recall for a while again, then shook his head. "I don't remember clearly." "What's wrong?" "Nothing." Chen Tan took a small sip of water, as if he had made up his mind, and looked directly into Chen Ling's eyes. "How do you think we've treated you?" "Very well," Chen Ling said as a matter of course. "If you hadn't taken me in back then, I probably would have frozen to death on the roadside. My biological parents didn't want me. But you raised me, working tirelessly to support my schooling. Everything I have was given by you. Everything I have was given by you." Hearing this, a hint of relief flashed in Chen Tan's eyes. "Then if one day, Ayan gets sick, and only your heart can save him, would you be willing to save him?" Chen Ling was stunned. At that moment, he felt that this sentence was somewhat familiar. Fragmented memories surged from the original host's mind, and Chen Ling's head began to ache again. He suddenly remembered that the original host seemed to have heard similar words last night. I. Chen Ling clutched his head, a look of pain appearing on his face. "Ayan is our flesh and blood. Your mother took medicine until her body broke down just to conceive him. We tried for 10 years before we finally had this only child. A child who truly belongs to us. Now he's sick, and we can't just watch him die. The divine witch in 2nd District said that as long as we get another young heart no older than 20, it can replace Ayan's failing heart. Ayan has called you older brother for so many years, and you've been like our own son in our home for so many years. Mom and Dad have never asked you for anything, but just this once, we beg you to save Ayan. Tell me, you are willing, right?" Chen Tan's body trembled slightly. His eyes filled with pleading and expectation as he looked at Chen Ling. He was like a child who had done something wrong, waiting for a belated forgiveness. At this moment, the fragmented memories buried in last night's heavy rain finally began to surface for Chen Ling. While enduring the headache, he took a deep breath and spoke hoarsely. "So, you killed him." "Him? Does Ayan know?" "He doesn't know. If he knew that the heart he was about to receive was yours, he would rather die than agree." Chen Tan recovered from the struggle and guilt deep within him, reached into the sack at his feet, and slowly pulled out a sharp axe. "Ling, you are already dead. You shouldn't be here." Chen Tan's eyes were bloodshot. He gripped the axe tightly, and spoke hoarsely, "Whatever is occupying your body, I will free you." A low rumble of thunder flashed across the dim sky. A sharp axe was raised high, and swung down with force. Bang! A warm splash splattered on Chen Tan's face. Crimson blood bloomed like a flower on the floor, and Chen Ling's body fell straight to the ground with a thud. The axe was embedded in his neck, almost severing his entire head. His unfocused eyes stared into nothingness, his face still showing traces of pain and bewilderment. He was dead. No heartbeat, no breathing. His body gradually grew cold, like a martyr fallen in a crimson flower bed. Chen Tan's chest heaved violently. He stared intently at the thoroughly dead body, sweat soaking his clothes. Dead. Li Shuchen collapsed onto the chair, stammering. Dead. What about the disaster? Chen Tan paused. I don't know. Li Shuchen stared blankly at the corpse, then suddenly said, do you think, is it possible that he wasn't a disaster, but God gave us another chance for atonement? If so, Chen Tan gave a bitter laugh. Then we truly deserve to go to hell. Chapter 9. Dad, I'm hungry. It's also possible that the calamity was too weak and was completely killed with one axe strike. Li Shuchen offered another possibility. Chen Tan didn't answer. He stared at the figure in the pool of blood for a long time, then turned and pulled out a cleaver from the kitchen. What are you going to do? Cut open his chest and see if his heart is still there. Chen Tan said hoarsely. At least I need to know whether I killed a monster or the salvation given by God. He knelt beside Chen Ling's corpse and laboriously cut open his chest with the knife. Li Shuchen, pale-faced, turned and rushed into the kitchen, retching violently. A few minutes later, Chen Tan slowly stood up. How is it? Li Shuchen asked. Empty. Chen Tan looked at the empty inner wall of the chest, as if relieved. He has no heart. No heart? Then how did he? I don't know. Chen Tan paused. Whatever it is, it's dead now. What about the body? Let's hide it in the cellar. Enforcers are everywhere outside now. We can't send it out. Chen Tan dragged away the corner of the living room table and opened the thick wooden board on the floor, revealing a dark, narrow underground space. In an era without refrigerators, storing food using the natural insulation of a cellar was the best option. He was about to throw Chen Ling in when he saw the grotesque and horrifying neck wound, and stopped. Go get Ayan's theater gown. Chen Tan said, no matter what it is. This is a Ling's shell, without a coffin for burial. At least give him a decent outfit. At the mention of the theater gown, Li Shuchen trembled slightly. But last night, he came back wearing that very gown. It's just a piece of clothing. Chen Tan was about to retort, but recalling the terrifying scene of Chen Ling returning home last night, he didn't insist. Forget it. Let it be. Chen Tan threw Chen Ling's body into the cellar, covered the wooden board, and then placed the table on top, finally ending it. Next, Li Shuchen began to clean the bloodstains in the house. Although these things made her constantly nauseous, she still held her nose and continued. Thump thump thump. A rapid knocking sound suddenly rang out. Li Shuchen, who was cleaning the room, skipped a heartbeat and suddenly looked back at Chen Tan. Someone's here? Ignore him for now. Pretend no one's home. Li Shuchen nodded. They held their breath in the living room, only the dull knocking echoing continuously. But the knocking showed no sign of stopping, instead growing more forceful. Immediately after, a low voice came from the doorway. Enforcer inquiry. Open the door immediately. Hearing the words, enforcer, both of their faces instantly turned pale. Chen Tan hesitated for a moment, then gave Li Shuchen a look, quickly changed his clothes, and walked towards the door without even fully buttoning up. Creak. The door opened a crack. Chen Tan squeezed out the door, closing it behind him. Enforcer sir, is there something wrong? A light drizzle fell from the gloomy sky. Two figures in black and red uniforms stood outside the door, their expressions somewhat grim. We've been knocking for so long. Why didn't you open? I was sleeping just now. It took a while to get dressed. He chuckled awkwardly. The two enforcers glanced at his unbuttoned clothes, their expressions relaxing slightly. Is this Chen Ling's house? Yes. Where is he? He left this morning and hasn't returned yet. When he returns, hand him this notice. An enforcer pulled out a document from his pregnant. The entire 2nd District and 3rd District are now under lockdown. All provisional enforcers who passed the written examination are being temporarily recruited to gather. He is also on the conscription list. Tomorrow morning at 7, report to the 3rd District Enforcer Headquarters on time. Failure to appear will be considered an automatic forfeiture of the spot. Chen Tan's heart skipped a beat, but he accepted the notice without changing his expression and nodded. Okay, I'll definitely hand it over. The two enforcers turned and left, and Chen Tan breathed a sigh of relief. He pushed the door and entered the house. Screech, screech. As soon as he entered the house, a harsh metallic scraping sound entered his ears, like someone dragging sharp nails across a blackboard, instantly sending shivers down Chen Tan's spine. At this moment, Li Shuchen was completely huddled in the corner, trembling uncontrollably. When she saw Chen Tan return to the house, her nearly broken eyes finally lifted. She slowly extended a hand, pointing towards the kitchen. In the kitchen, a vermilion figure stood with its back to them, head lowered, as if chewing on something. Seeing that back, Chen Tan's mind instantly went blank. It was a young man whose neck was almost severed. Scarlet flesh was healing at a visible rate. He held a cleaver in his left hand and a blood-stained axe in his right, simultaneously stuffing them into his mouth. As if sensing Chen Tan opening the door and returning home, the figure draped in the red theater gown in the kitchen slowly turned around. It was Chen Ling with no heart, almost beheaded. His cheeks were slightly puffed out as he forcefully chewed on metal and wood debris. His unfocused eyes were like those of a beast, eerie and chilling. "Dad," a voice came from behind him. "I'm hungry." Chen Ling had a dream. It was a cloudy afternoon. As usual, he had finished his workout at the training ground in the suburbs and pushed open the door of his house. Drenched in sweat, it wasn't his birthday that day, but there was a cream cake on the dining table. Orange candlelight flickered in the dimly lit living room, and two figures sat at the table, their eyes somewhat red. A cream cake, costing 200 copper coins, was something their family could absolutely not afford on a normal day. He was very puzzled. He asked what day it was. His parents told him that it was the day his younger brother, Ayan, was scheduled for surgery. He was very happy to hear that. His brother's congenital heart disease had been a nightmare for their family. To cure his brother, his parents and he had traveled everywhere seeking help, but every clinic was helpless. A few days ago, his parents said they had found a hospital in the 2nd district and had sent his brother there, confident they could cure him. Upon hearing the good news, he happily finished the cake, but soon his consciousness began to dim, and he collapsed onto the table. The last image he saw was his mother, Li Shuchen, covering her mouth and crying bitterly. "I'm sorry, I'm truly sorry," he heard his father whisper. "Ayan's illness needs a heart. You'd be willing, right?" He opened his mouth, seemingly wanting to answer something, but ultimately fell into a coma. Then, he felt himself being put into a bag. Rain pattered on the surface of the bag. After a long time, he was finally lifted onto a certain table. He felt his chest being cut open and something being taken out of it. And then, he was dressed in a piece of clothing, transferred to a certain place in the heavy rain, and thick soil gradually covered his body. Everything around him plunged into darkness and silence. In the darkness, Chen Ling's eyes suddenly opened. Spotlights lit up one after another above his head, illuminating the red-clad figure lying in the center of the stage. After a moment of daze, Chen Ling propped himself up with his hands and shakily stood up. "Damn it, how did I come back again?" Chen Ling's face was somewhat pale. His gaze subconsciously fell on the screen in the center of the stage, and his pupils suddenly contracted. Open black lens bracket audience expectation +1 close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket audience expectation +1 close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket current expectation, 67% close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket detected loss of actor connection. Performance interrupted close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket audience expectation -50 close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket current expectation, 17% close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket warning. Warning, close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket audience beginning to intervene in performance, close black lens bracket. Chapter 10. The audience. Gulp. Chen Tan couldn't help but swallow. How is this possible? He spoke hoarsely. No heart, head cut off, yet he can still move? Where did the opera costume on him come from? Didn't we not put it on him? I don't know. Li Shuchen was completely consumed by fear, answering incoherently. He was already wearing that opera costume when he crawled out from underground. It was the opera costume we draped over him when we buried him last night. He's a ghost, he's really a ghost. A ghost here to claim our lives. Nonsense. There are no ghosts in this world. The scene before him was too bizarre, and Chen Tan's legs were shaking with fear. But he ultimately mustered his courage, picked up a dining knife from the ground, and stabbed towards Chen Ling's face. He had killed Chen Ling twice, so he could kill him a third time. Whatever was inside him, besides looking scary, didn't seem as terrifying as the disasters rumored outside, which gave Chen Tan a considerable amount of courage. The sharp dining knife cut through the air, and just as it was about to touch Chen Ling, it suddenly stopped in midair. Chen Tan was stunned, desperately trying to push the knife forward, but he couldn't advance an inch. as if an invisible hand was gripping the knife's blade, holding it firmly in midair. Hee hee. A strange chuckle came from behind Chen Ling. The next moment, the dining knife in Chen Tan's hand vanished into thin air, replaced by a thin, long red paper strip. Chen Ling, with his eyes unfocused, chewed and swallowed all the axes and cleavers in his mouth. Staring directly at Chen Tan, he slowly advanced, mechanically and hoarsely repeating the same sentence. "Dad, I'm hungry." These 3 simple words sent a chill down Chen Tan's spine. He had no doubt that the next moment, Chen Ling would grab his head, forcibly stuff it into his mouth, chew and crush it. His bones wouldn't be harder than an axe or a cleaver. "Run, go find the enforcers." Chen Tan turned and bolted towards the main door. Chen Tan knew that the current situation was beyond their ability to handle. The only way to survive now was to seek help from the enforcers. Those incredibly powerful enforcement officers surely had a way to resolve disasters. As for how the enforcers would judge their intentional murder and organ theft later, that was a matter for another time. At any rate, going to jail was better than losing one's life. Li Shuchen, who was squatting nearby, trembling all over, was also jolted back to her senses by that shout, and she scrambled towards the tightly shut door. Taking advantage of Chen Ling's attention being on Chen Tan, she successfully reached the door and reached for the doorknob, but grabbed nothing. Li Shuchen looked down in a daze, only to find that the doorknob had disappeared. No, not just the doorknob. The entire door had turned into a drawing on red paper, transforming from 3-dimensional to 2-dimensional. She couldn't open a door drawn on paper. Hey 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 hey. Dense, overlapping sounds came from all directions. As if the room was now filled with countless invisible figures, they watched the two, their scarlet eyes full of mockery. Red paper strips danced around Li Shuchen, and in a daze, she saw strange faces. She screamed continuously, backing away, her eyes filled with nothing but pure terror. Finally, her eyes rolled back, and she collapsed to the ground, losing consciousness. Open black lens bracket audience expectation 1 close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket current expectation 16% close black lens bracket. At the same time, Chen Tan felt his feet give way, and he fell heavily to the ground. He turned back in shock, only to find that the entire floor had turned red, surging like waves. He stared blankly at the red-clad Chen Ling slowly approaching, as if he had realized something, and screamed in terror. "It's true. What the enforcers said is true. You are a disaster. You are the disaster that usurped a Ling's body." Hearing this, the red-clad Chen Ling stopped. His scarlet lips curled slightly upwards, and a pale finger was placed before his lips, making a hush gesture. Shush. Just as the endless red paper was about to engulf Chen Tan, 2 shattering sounds of glass came from the side. Traces of a disaster found at Han Shuang Street 128. Destructive power assessed at level 4. Immediately request enforcement officer support. 2 figures in black and red uniforms burst through the window, one of them quickly scanning the room and speaking. "Received. Support has been dispatched. Please try to hold them off." A serious voice came from the walkie-talkie on one of the enforcers' waists. One enforcer gave a wry smile. "A level 4 disaster. How can we possibly hold it off?" Seeing the 2 enforcers suddenly burst in, the invisible audience let out a soft sound of surprise, as if they had found a more interesting toy. The red-clad Chen Ling flicked his hand, and the fallen Chen Tan immediately fainted, bloodstains flowing from his 7 orifices, gradually soaking the ground beneath his feet. "Keep your distance. Saving your life is paramount." One enforcer quickly retreated, drawing a gun from his waist and pulling the trigger repeatedly. Bang bang bang. Brass bullets cut through the void, and before they reached the red-clad Chen Ling, they turned into tiny red paper strips, dissipating in midair. The red-clad Chen Ling gently raised his hand, and countless paper strips emerged from the wide sleeves of his opera robe, coiling around the bodies of the 2 enforcers like slithering snakes. The paper strips wrapping the 2 suddenly twisted, like being wrung into a braid, then fell heavily onto the ground. Open black lens bracket audience expectation 1 close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket current expectation 15% close black lens bracket. The red-clad Chen Ling's body gradually expanded. His opera costume forcibly stretched open, as if faces were about to break through his skin, and chaotic whispers filled the space. Within a few seconds, he became a monster with red paper tentacles fluttering all over, and pairs of scarlet eyes opened on the paper, no longer bearing any resemblance to Chen Ling. It violently crashed through the paper door, rushing into the deserted street, the misty rain hitting its body without making a sound. It randomly chose a direction and flew out as a scarlet afterimage. Almost simultaneously, a black-clad figure sliced through the dark clouds, rapidly following behind. Target disaster found, Han Meng spoke calmly. Is it world-ending level? A worried voice came from the walkie-talkie. From its aura, it's at most level 5. It seems a disaster did descend last night, but the pointer misjudged its energy intensity. Level 5 is also quite dangerous. Meng Zhe, be careful. Han Meng didn't speak. He closely followed the red afterimage, arriving at the wilderness on the edge of the 3rd district. Then he suddenly crashed down like a cannonball. Boom! A black meteor struck the wilderness, creating an invisible airwave. Shattered sand splattered in all directions. The red shadow was forced to stop. Dense red paper tentacles swayed in the wind, and all the eyes simultaneously looked towards the dust-filled area. A figure lowered his head to light a thick cigarette, slowly walking out, the silver patterns on the hem of his black trench coat subtly glowing. A wind-like domain invisibly expanded, enveloping the crimson paper monster. I am Han Meng, the law enforcement officer chief of Aurora Domain's 3rd district. He held a cigarette in one hand, and with the other, he pulled a pitch-black pistol from his waist, his thumb disengaging the safety, and the sand and stones in the domain began to tremble slightly. A faint killing intent suddenly locking onto the crimson paper monster. His lips parted slightly, his words seemingly carrying the rhythm of some law. I uphold the justice of human civilization. I sentence you to death.